So I don't know who needs to hear this, but we took a brutal beating. I mean, Gray Zone Warfare has had players leaving week after week. And that's not even including the abomination of a hotfix that they just released the other day. So what can Madfinger Games do in order to keep these players in the game and keep the 900,000 plus that bought, copies coming back?
Before we get into this video, I want to stress that this game is very much in early access, so saying they need to optimize the game or work on how the AI is just wasted air. They know it, we know it, blah 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 blah. And while this video is just my opinion, I would challenge you to watch to the end of the video. I mean, it's not like, some douchebag YouTuber is going to change your well thought out mind, right? I want to talk about a part of the game that has sadly been neglected. A player base that has basically been left out in the cold to freeze to death, like some red-headed bastard stepchild forced to sit at the kiddie table during Thanksgiving. The Chad PvPers. PvP is one of the best parts of this game. Nothing gets my blood going more than a fellow PMC calling for aid at some POI and sallying forth in my black little bird steed. But in order to get that PvP fight, you basically have to go hunting for it, or hope that you have competent teammates that will communicate where the enemy actually is.
01 vampire, we need help. They're cleaning us.
How many of them are there?
3.
I know what you're thinking, but Enlighten, this is a PvE focused game, not a PvP shooter. True, and that's the problem. Look, I get it. Casual players want to come home from work, crack open a beer, jump on Discord, and just hang out with their friends. They don't want to have to worry about some EFT sweat streamer chatting up YBL. So I don't think the PvE mode is a bad thing at all. Games have to have an aspect of challenge to them. They don't need to be rage-inducing like Escape from Tarkov, but they do have to have some type of arc, taking the player along a journey with him or herself. DayZ is probably the closest game to Gray Zone Warfare, and the arc is pretty simple for new players. You learn the basics of crafting, looting, and exploring the starting area. You probably die a few times to zombies and other players, and then you start to learn how to fight the zombies and lower kit players as well. Right now, your challenge is just basic survival. The skills you learn in this phase will be important through the rest of your adventure, and will be something you use throughout the rest of your DayZ career. Later, you'll get into base building and, PvP to contest those higher tier loot areas. Each time you load into DayZ, it's a different experience, where you have to use your knowledge to adapt to the situation at hand. This is what is lacking from Gray Zone Warfare. The player has no incentive to leave the comfort of the PvE game mode. They can beat the game just by fighting bots. The skill arc is super flat. You start off by learning the game basics, then you learn to fight the AI. Now all you have to do is play the game long enough to progress through the task. Boom, you're done. Your biggest challenge is just going to be finding the damn generator key to YBL. Every time you go to Midnight Sapphire, it's going to be the same route. You're going to learn where the AI spawn and just cheese them into engagements that you're going to win. You're basically playing Ready or Not or Ground Branch at this point. Both are good games, by the way, but they don't have the retention of PvP-driven games. But there is PvP in Gray Zone Warfare, right? Right? Well, not really. There's very little driving players into conflict with one another, outside of the sheer boredom of repetitive tasking. Think how many times you've seen your fob attacked, or gone and attacked the enemy fob, just to have a different experience. The only driving force we have for PvP is going to some random POI for some quest for that bitch artisan. Seriously, I hate that chick. The devs have said before the end of the year they want to add things like day-night cycles and dynamic weather, and while that's cool, it isn't really content that anyone cares about long-term. Sure, sneaking around the jungle in quad eyes will be, something that brings players back for a little bit, but like the helicopter rides, it'll get stale really quick. Instead, I think the devs should focus on something else they talked about before, and that's the mini-fob idea where, factions have to jockey for control of them. Now, we have no idea what gaining control of these points brings us, but it would be something cool to see. I also know that the community has also proposed like airdrops and convoys, and I hope that they add those things, sooner than later. But before PvP can take a bigger focus in this game, we do need some changes to the gameplay mechanics. I could list a ton of them, but here are 5 that I don't see being talked about too often in the Gray Zone community. Also, if you want Madfinger Games to get this message, make my voice your voice. Like the video, share it, comment down below to help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if we hit 8,000 subs, I will restart my game and do a 0 to hero run here in Gray Zone Warfare. Number one, looting items off the ground is just way too cumbersome. If you throw a bunch of items on the ground currently, you have no way of sorting through them. Basically, you just have to, manually move yourself around until you can get that exact item that you want. Super time consuming, and it's going to get you killed in a PvP game. Number two, grenades need to be buffed. Look, the landscape is filled with bushes and thick jungle. A bush Wookiee is always going to be a thing you're going to have to worry about in this game. And right now, the blast radius of grenades feels just underwhelming. I believe they said it's something like 5 or 10 meters. I highly doubt that. And whatever it is, it basically needs to be doubled. I've thrown a grenade right next to somebody and them not die.
Here we go!
All right, boys, short grenade to our front. Short grenade to our front. I'm throwing it out. Frag out.
You just got somebody. Somebody died.
Nicely done, boys. Let's go check it out, okay? Literally the only time I have seen the player base use grenades in mass numbers was for the grenade exploit back at the FOB, and I fucking hated you guys. Number 3, we need a better way to distinguish friendly faction members than just the Blue Force tracker. Everyone, I mean everyone, bitches about friendly fire on Reddit. It might be one of the biggest reasons why players do not play the warfare mode. And why, yes, you should use the map. It does have some severe disadvantages. 1, the screen is way too big. It takes up literally half your screen. 2, you can use it inside the jungle to get like positive ID on where your friendly forces are located, but it's literally impossible in YBL if you have like teams mixed inside with you. You have no idea if your friend's on the first floor, second floor, in the little hidey hole on the far right, or whatever, right? And players don't really have time to sit there and type out messages every 30 seconds saying like where they're at inside, a building. And they're not going to use VoIP at all because, that's just going to give your position away. So what ends up happening is everyone just ends up shooting each other, and then we go to Reddit and bitch about friendly fire. Yeah, so I know what like comments are about to be start posting, like the IRL super realism crowd. There's going to be like, well, that's how it is in real life. I was in the army back in '88, so that's how it was. Yeah, no, it wasn't, because you have to think real life military operations, something that I've done a lot of, actually. You have, TOCs, troop operation centers, that are coordinating unit movements between your unit and adjacent unit. You have internal comms with your squad or your unit. You're all wearing the same uniform, generally speaking. You all speak the same language. Yeah, so there's 100 different things IRL that prevents you from friendly firing the shit out of people. And even then, it still happens. So this is a game. Like, it's a game. Number 4, arm stamina and running stamina drains too quickly. Holding a 16-pound rifle up for a long period of time is going to make your arms tired. I promise you that. But oh my God, these dudes need to hit the gym or something. They're supposed to be like ex-Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Spetsnaz. Yet my boot camp recruit self could hold up a rifle longer in Grass Week on Paris Island 14 years ago.
Get your freaking arms off! Aye, sir! Get them up here out of the tent! It's a piece of paper! It doesn't weigh anything! Aye, sir!
Everybody that's still here is going to, go, well, if you were running and sprinting with all that gear on, you're going to get just gassed completely. And I 100% agree. Being able to sprint as fast as you are with all that gear on, you're going to 100% be out of breath. But for the love of God, then, give us a jogging option. The map is absolutely huge, and the LZs are a dangerous place. Half the time you run out of stamina before you even get out of the LZ when running. So let us jog a bit to get some distance and cover, and allow us to reload while jogging, for God's sakes. Solo players right now are at a disadvantage because if they're going up against teams, they can't reload and move because your movement is even hampered. And I hate to tell you guys, but you can actually run and reload at the same time. Number 5, the AI respawn rate and their interaction with gunfire. Let me paint a picture for you. You're at Fort Nerith. You're pushing in from Delta 3. You've cleared all the enemies out to the barracks, and you're starting your main advance to the main HQ. Because you got a quest where you got to get some intel off the second floor. And yes, this is actually a quest you will do in the game. You've got your suppressed Mark 18, you're dropping AI, they're pouring out all towards you all over the place. You're getting a little pinned down because you're a solo, you don't have a squad, but you're hooking and jabbing, you're getting it done, burning through tons of your ammo. But you're also getting some decent loot off their corpses. You get into the HQ, only to find out that there's an enemy squad on the second floor. Now you're trapped. You're on the timer. You either have to push them or hope they dehydrate faster than you do because the AI is going to start respawning on the very route that you just started coming in on. You have no choice. You're going to have to push them. You're going to have to make some MLG plays and kill them all. You manage to do that. You get the intel and shove it far up your ass. But you're hurt badly from the engagement. And what should have been a rewarding experience, one where you overcame the odds and completed the mission, is now going to be a nightmare. Because out of thin air, all the AI you killed coming in are back. And you've got a folder in your ass and a backpack full of optics to sell to Gunny for $200 a piece. The AI should be difficult, especially in these high-tier loot areas. But they don't need to dictate literally everything I do in this game. So what, a helicopter lands after I've left and every AI is dead there. They can scab around and get whatever they need to get done there without having to worry about the AI. This also adds to the convoy aspect I talked about earlier. Having the base reinforced by like 10 half-ton trucks is a pretty cool aspect to the game. And if I want to ambush it and get a bunch of easy loot, yay for me. It would at least make the map more active. Right now, the map has a lot of dead zones. Outside of the POI and your individual fob, you really don't go out there. But if you could go hunting for some convoys to get some easy loot, it might be worth it for you. It might sound like I'm being really critical on this game, and in a lot of ways I am. I see the massive potential of the game and the options it gives the players that has sadly been missing from the FPS genre for a long time now. With over 900,000 copies sold and growing each and every day, I hope that this player base stays active for years to come. Because honestly, I'm getting really tired of this long journey of going from game to game, not feeling like I can plant my roots down to any game longer than a few months before having to pick back up and start all over again. But that's a topic for another video. Maybe the next one, who knows. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters, Twitch subscribers, and you the viewer. Anyway, scholars, as always, hit those books and hit those bottles. Cheers.